Welcome into another Tuesday night's evening blend. Come one and come all. Here we are. I am Pop Blender, and with me is always Matthew Matson, who always, as well, has something to show off, and therefore he gets to go full screen. What about it, man? Tell me about this pickup. Tell the chat about this pickup because you sent it to me earlier, and I got to tell you, that's a hell of a pickup, brother.
So Targets have this on clearance now for 70% off, so you can get it for $12. Um, and there's a custom. This is the one that came with them, but somebody made an awesome custom version of this that has ear options and looks a lot sharper. But there's other reasons that I got this. There's a John Carter of Mars thing I need to do, but these eyes are amazing, and I mean, $12. I mean, this thing articulates amazing.
Again,
So,
$12, right?
yeah.
It was 43 bucks if I remember the
Yeah.
sticker that you showed me.
Yep.
And so 12 bucks instead of 43, and then this is the prized possession, my friend. So by all means.
So this is my Fig Voice, and they did a run of these
Woo!
stands, and it's an articulated stand that can
Oh
move this thing
wow. Come
around
on, stop
so
it.
that you've got this nice base on here, and then you can adjust it to, however you can tilt it forward or back or whatever. And so it's this wired stand,
It's
and
awesome.
um, I mean, this was $20. He made it too cheaply for those who pre-ordered it. So I believe
Mm.
they're going to go up to maybe 25. But it is designed to fit four pegs on
Holy
a
crap.
on a base, plugs right into the bottom, and holds
Yeah,
it
man.
holds it really well. I mean,
Wow. Oh yeah. No, that
yeah,
is that is freaking awesome. And
yep.
I had no knowledge, no knowledge whatsoever about that. Do you have anything else that uh you want to show off before we get into it? Okay, let me back out and let me go back to full screen. All right. All right. What do you got? What do you got there, man?
So I picked up the NECA Howling Werewolf, and that rounds. I took a picture of the Howling Werewolf, the Kessler Wolf, and the Wolfman, and put them all in a picture together because those are the three wolf creatures that really shaped a lot of my love of werewolves. And there are some really great designed werewolves. Uh,
Nice.
so I'm having fun with those. So he's going to be fighting Destro soon,
I'm sure
on
he's going to be.
on the moors of Scotland.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he's gonna. I'm sure you're gonna get some great photos out of that. I can't imagine, or can imagine actually, because I know you do great photography. But I've got it. Give me 1 second, man. I've got to
Hmm.
change something here really
Yep.
quick. I've got to. Let me cut my camera off here for
Sure.
just a second. Sorry about that, man. It's just so disrespectful. Hey guys, what's happening? Anyway, so good to see y'all. The treasures keep on coming. Like you guys know, when I bring Matthew on here, it's a never-ending cornucopia of toys and knowledge, not necessarily in that order every day, right? But anyway, so yeah, man. Look, no, those are freaking ridiculous. The Destro stand, that is magnificent, dude. And the design too, especially like that's unbelievable. Okay, so welcome in. Show is already in progress. We do have a few things to talk about. It is a little bit of a kind of a light week. We're waiting on the Odyssey, right? If you do in fact have your tickets, Matthew, were you able to score tickets
For the
for the
Odyssey?
Odyssey? At the very least, I'm sure not IMAX. Most people weren't able to, but were you able to grab 2D, or are you going to wait?
I'm gonna wait. If we see
Yeah.
anything this coming weekend, it's gonna be Young Washington. I don't have any desire to see the Odyssey. Because if I go see a movie called the Odyssey, I want it to be about the
The
Odyssey.
Odyssey?
Yeah.
Well, we got a little more information about that. A little more has come out about it. They did have their red carpet premiere, and John Leguizamo has been kind of making interesting comments. Man, it's he's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
And then look, I put it in the thumbnail as best I could about what we're looking at as Moana released, and diminishing returns when it comes to the live action. Although it's kind of hit or miss, right? It's kind of hit or miss because
It
they'll
is hit
have
or
a
miss.
good one, and then they'll go through
Yep.
two or three that don't work, and then they'll have another good one that kind of gives them the wrong message. I think gives them the wrong idea about what to do with these old school animated films and remaking them in live action.
Well, I
And
mean, you just had Moana 2 come out last year.
yeah, it's and it did pretty well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, did pretty well. But I compiled a list of these live action remakes by Disney, and I kind of want to go through it with you and look at either kind of what the production budget was, what they made, but also I have a list in descending order of the best one, the most profitable, or at least the highest box office, to the lowest. And so the years are kind of all over, but I
Yeah.
think we can gather one main thing from all of it when it's all said and done. Spaceballs 2. Yes, we did get some
The search for
plot
more
leaks,
money.
if that's what you want to call it, plot leaks. And George Lucas had some interesting comments
Yeah.
about AI, which is gonna be maybe surprising to you. But I would be remiss if we did not say hello to Stanley Everhart Jr. the third. Yeah, knowing Mel Brooks leaks could be intentional. It's intentional.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
this if once I read the post to you guys, you'll get the gist of it. Mother Slug, what is happening to you? Johnny Reno, Cage's Customs. Cheers to you
What's
as well,
up?
brother. Cypher 63, how the hell are you? Eric Thurman, out on the West Coast.
Dog
What is
wheel
it?
hunt.
Whoop! Shane, same time toys, Spaceballs 2, and Triple D's Customs. Hey, you guys. Joe Fan 84 is on vacay and hopefully scoping those bikinis out there. Joe
You know,
Fan.
I was thinking about Spaceballs too just today when I ran across this article about an ICE protester that got shot with a riot bullet in the groin and exploded his testicle.
Well, if there's one thing that screams good time to me, that would be it. That sounds like
Well, I mean, he
Panama
really,
City spring break, actually.
right? Yeah, yeah. It's like not like he was using it anyway.
Holy
I mean,
shit. um, so let's see. Yeah, smoke them if you got them, or just stick them in your nose. 3-star draw. What's up, man? Cuz, hey, how the heck are you? I know he's got a stream tomorrow night with Krusty Old Crow on Backyard Battlefields. Let's see here. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. If I'm not missing anybody like HK Viper, I cannot miss the HK or the Viper part. Speaking of which, I want to wipe your windows. Viper window washing. I had to pick this shirt up at Joe Fest. I had to. I couldn't help myself. Let's see. And make sure I'm not missing anybody. I love the emojis in the in the chat. Yeah,
oh
I
yeah.
couldn't help myself, okay? Like, come on. 3-star says, you do have to put that in your mouth later. And that is what she said, I hope. Bobby Wolf, how you doing? I'm hearing rumors about Bradley Cooper is going to be Duke. Okay, well, that's news to me. Um,
Yet no, I don't think that there's any casting news coming up yet.
Not that I heard, but it's fun. It's fun to speculate. And
Yep.
Chris Kyle, yeah, look, I mean, that was a good movie. And
Yeah.
he did do a good job, with that. Let's see here.
I would rather Bradley play Flint. I'm just saying.
And the smokers and children shall be cast down. Oh, enough of that mess. All right, let's see here. And yeah, look, really, I wouldn't even want a Blazing Saddles 2 because
So
I would not want to diminish Blazing
So
Saddles
you
1.
could say that there pretty much was a Blazing Saddles 2. You could probably just say it was a remake of Blazing Saddles with this little animated film called Paws of Fury, where this dog becomes sheriff of a cat town, and you have a lot of the same dynamics and without the language, the same humor and comedy. And if you understand that that's what they're talking about, it's even funnier. And Mel Brooks plays the same character in the animated cartoon that he did in the Blazing Saddles movie.
Really?
Yes.
I, I, man, I've never heard of that.
So
Um,
I heard about this movie and then I heard that it was a Blazing Saddles remake and I had to watch it. And so I watched it. I laughed my butt off so much. And then it's a kids movie, so I let my daughter watch it. Um, because it doesn't have any of the language or anything like that, but it has
okay.
the same concepts all the way through that they have in Blazing Saddles.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry, but Mother Slug, if I could zoom in on your Oh, you guys are freaking awesome. Gotta love it. Yes. Oh my gosh, dude. That is awesome. And I'm glad you brought it to my attention as I will bring this to y'all's attention really quickly since we're talking about Blazing Saddles.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
One more time, I'll turn it up just a little bit.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Gosh darn, your words are prettier than a $20 whore.
So, man, you get a lot of mileage out of that movie. An absolute ton
Yeah.
of mileage out of that movie.
Yep.
Oh my god. Yeah, I would be scared to see an honest part 2 to be honest with you, I guess. Okay, so do you want to I kind of want to get into this George Lucas AI
Yep.
thing. We'll get into the numbers. But I kind of want to dig into this Lucas thing because when I brought it up to you before we came on, you mentioned that you hadn't quite seen
Yeah.
that yet.
I hadn't seen it yet.
And so I kind of wanted to bring this up and see what you thought about these comments. This was an interview. Um, this is per Variety, but they're pulling this story because this is a interview and it's from a site called A Rabbit's Foot. I'm not familiar with that site. But George Lucas says AI makes it much easier for us to make movies. And there's nothing you can do about it. That's progress. It's the future. That's the beginning of the quote. He continues, artificial intelligence means it's much easier for us to make movies. It's very much like sitting here saying, well, I believe the horse and the buggy is really where it's at. These cars, they break down. They need gas. There's all kinds of problems with them. And pretty soon, they'll be making them into tanks, and then they'll be killing people. It's terrible. There's nothing you can do about it. That's progress. It's the future. What do you... I mean, look, George is at an age where I think we're going to start to hear some things that he's
Get
like,
off my
I don't...
lawn!
Okay? On top of, I don't really give a shit kind of
Yeah.
mentality, right? We all
Yeah.
get that way. But what do you think about George? Really quickly, I will say I don't like the making them into tanks and then killing people like when he's talking about cars. But I get what he's saying. But what do you think about his comments about AI and the fact that he's like, hey, look, it's here, it's not going away, and this is how films are going to be made.
So I had a conversation with Dan Larson this week about this exact concept. We went back and forth a couple of times. We mostly agreed on things, but he was coming after Savage Crucible for using AI and some of their advertisements. And my response was, they make incredible stuff. They have never used AI for any of their production design, painting, any of that stuff. But they did some animated commercials to promote some of their upcoming releases with it. And they're brief, they're short, and if they used AI for that, it's because it's a time and money issue, and they're a very small company that that doesn't have a lot of time or money to be spending on advertisements, but they still need to get the word out there. So if you run it through this little thing and does this little animated thing, okay, great. People are going to see this little thing happen. But you look at the photography is amazing, and it's all practical, it's all real, it's all done by people that we know in the communities. The painting, the artwork, the box designs, all that stuff is done by real artists and real people. Unlike Fresh Monkey Fiction, when Bill went all off on AI, he was all for AI, and he did a lot of packaging that was straight up AI. And people called him out on it and gave him a whole bunch of shit for it, and he dug his heels in. But now Bill is using Brian Sauer to do a lot of his packaging art now. So he's kind of shifted gears on that, or they were making enough money that he could actually afford to pay an artist to do it now.
Okay.
And so yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's here.
Yes.
And we have to find ethical ways to use it as a tool, because it is a tool. I hate the fact when people are taking away from actual artists and that, and it sucks when companies like Hasbro use it because they've got no reason to use it.
You're right. They have the funding to be able
Because
to pay an artist to do things.
the use of AI is going to be used by people with low budget or not enough talent for themselves to do it, but want to create this idea to get something out there. But as long as we know that it's AI, and it's not really that person, then that's okay. As long as it's labeled that way, I don't have a problem with it. If you like it, you like it. I tend not to like or follow or interact with any AI content on Instagram because I don't want it in my feed. And honestly, I can't even find those AI things that he was even talking about, because he said he unfollowed Savage Crucible on Instagram because of it.
Okay.
And I can only remember just one or two things that they did.
So,
But AI's here. It's not going anywhere.
yeah, and look, the reason I want to bring this up is because I know how you feel about it. And I'd say probably people in the chat, at least if they've listened to you, they know how you feel about it. At least they know how you feel about it as far as replacing art or replacing artists or hey, look, on my level, on my basic small channel, just having fun, thumbnail level, right? It's fun to use.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to impress anybody, right? I'm not trying to make anybody be wowed by my AI creations or videos or whatever, right?
Right.
Celebrities doing stuff. I mean, sometimes you can't even do that stuff anymore, right? Unless you know how to work around it. But point being is that yes, it's not going away, and you either learn to use those tools and put them in your toolbox. Or if you don't want to, that's fine. And you don't have to, you don't have to use them. Okay. It depends on the job and the creativity and what you're trying to do. You don't have to use it, but I get where George is coming from here, because the reality is that when it comes to filmmaking and the expense of filmmaking, and if you're a, small time independent filmmaker, you have to try to use whatever tools you have at your disposal. And George truly was an independent filmmaker. He banked a lot of his own money on himself. He banked and betted on his own success and put his own money up as an independent creator.
Yep.
Did he have help for distribution? Yeah, of course. That you can't do that without it.
I will tell you that I totally disagree with that whole statement, because George has some of the best artists and creators on the planet working on these designs of these aliens, and they were limited by technological constraints at the time.
I'm with you there.
But the Jabba's Palace, obviously we saw what they did with CGI, and they messed it all up. And that goes back to Cooking with Eric's thing there. Photoshop is nothing like using AI. It's not even the same thing. They're not even close to the same type of tool. Because Photoshop
right.
is a whole talent skill. You have to know how to do these things with actual film to be able to actually use them in Photoshop correctly.
I guess my point is this: as far as an independent filmmaker, I'm not talking about obviously no, he was not creating the Phil Tippett, monsters or create. No, of course not. I'm just talking about strictly from if you're an independent filmmaker.
Right. Yeah.
You have a limited budget. Right now, George did have a successful film that probably gave him some freedom and some money in
Right.
American Graffiti that allowed him to fund next projects like Star Wars and even Empire Strikes Back, right?
Right.
But my point is that for smaller creators, like, it is a tool in your toolbox. Does it have
Right.
to be the end all be all? Are you going to make a complete AI film? No. But can you use that for effects? Can you use that to help you maybe uh, I say craft your script. The one thing I don't want to see is people decide to ask AI, which it's easy to do,
Yeah.
to craft a script for you.
Right.
Even something as simple as a YouTube video. I have written out scripts for videos,
I
most
mean,
of
we
which
we
I have
had
not
John
filmed.
Campy on it this week, didn't we?
Exactly. So, but my point is that yes, you're right. It is a tool. It is here. It's going to be used, and at the very least, if you don't want to use it, that's fine. But again, it is in the toolbox for you,
Yep.
and for some people, it can be something they really need to have. Like,
Yeah.
it just depends on where you're at, what your station is, and what you're trying to get done. 3-star, people complaining about AI and advertising are the ones yelling, "Get off my lawn." What do you think would be happening if Mad Men were set in 2026? And eat a wiener? I do. Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't want to, but hey, I wouldn't stop someone if, in fact, they want to eat a wiener, like my buddy Ray Pitler. Um, Mother Slug says, I heard Star Wars Leia and Luke was AI. I've never seen the newer movies, but I heard of it. I don't know about that. I don't know about, but it wouldn't surprise me. And look, a lot of us, especially people that do YouTube, probably using AI for thumbnails and for fun. For me, that's great. As far as for artwork, and I know War Chest probably feels this way too. And I agree with him here. 100%. Right? Like, but like, War Chest is a photographer.
Yeah.
He's
No.
done some work. I'm sure he prefers real photography
Yeah.
over someone trying to play off like they did the work to get the
Yeah.
shot that they got.
And okay, but there's always this progression, right? I mean, I love film. I've always loved film. And being in the dark room and making my own photographs, because making them in the dark room is half the process. Well, then digital came out, and then we had to deal with the digital resolution issue, and then we can modify it with Photoshop, but you still have to use the same tools that you did in the dark room to get the same
Sure.
effects
Right.
on the film after the fact. Once you get the negatives developed, you can do anything you want to project that onto the paper to get these effects that you want. So I mean, these are tools. People are going to use them. You can choose to use them or not. I think the biggest problem, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it till the cows come home. I would not invest in AI at this time because people are trying to expand it and ask it to do more than it's prepared to do, and they're trying to build AI server farms secretly in all
Right.
kinds of places across the country. And anytime that anybody finds out about it, it gets shut down because the environmental impact is so destructive, and the power consumption along with building them is so environmentally damaging that people are pissed about it, and they're actually blocking these things from happening if they can catch them in time. And that's the thing, is sometimes we can't catch them in time.
So just locally, they're
Yeah.
wanting to put a data center up right by our Nashville Zoo.
Yep.
And obviously people are like, yeah, no, because of the resources involved and what that drain is and everything involved in it. And so, yeah, you're right. You are seeing people, communities, cities, areas that are, no, they're pushing back on that. And
Yeah.
I agree with you too in the investment part, because I do believe that they're,
There's going to be a crash.
man, like you just can see it coming a mile away. And it reminds me of these companies that go all in on stuff, man. And then all of a sudden it goes belly up. And then the next thing you know, what happens? Well, we got to lay off 5,000 people. We got to
Yeah.
lay off 10,000 people. We got to lay off a quarter of our workforce, right?
Yeah.
It's like clockwork. and you could totally see that happening 100%. I
Yeah.
agree with you. Yeah, Stanley, you know, as far as the classroom, what to me, what I worry about as far as the classroom is uh, students trying to not even learn anything and just be able to get by on letting AI write their papers, whatever it is, right? And they do have programs. I know my son told me this, even at high school level, that can determine if AI was used to answer questions or write essays or write whatever, and the teacher can put it up against this program, and it
Yeah.
will actually detect
So
if someone used
did you see
a
what this
program.
college professor did? So he had an online home midterm, and then he forced everybody to come in and take the final exam on paper, uh, with no devices in the classroom at all. And he had 13 people not even show up, but the average grade went from 97% to 42%.
Oh, you don't
Uh,
say.
yeah, because everybody was cheating with AI and everything like that. And we find this all the time. And the Senate committee hearings came out and said the more technology you have in the classroom, the faster IQ points drop.
Yes.
We are literally retarding the development of the children in our classrooms with putting computers in at the wrong times and allowing them to use them for anything. You know, in my opinion, it should be after the age of 12 before you introduce technology into the classroom, and it should be minimal to teach them the skills because it doesn't take long to learn those skills that they're going to need. And it will, with tactile, sensory integrated learning, which you cannot get from an electronic device, you actually increase IQ because it's physical, it's tactile, it's scent. There's so many senses involved with it, that you can't get away from it. And so AI bringing that stuff into the classroom and stuff is going to make this whole population thing even worse, and IQ points are going to drop even further.
you're
And
you're
then,
increasing screen time on top of that
yeah,
in
yeah,
the classroom, like a
yeah,
place that you should be able to get away from it, right?
right.
And have students interact with each other,
That's
and
the
so
point. That's the
right,
point.
right, and by increasing the screen time, as a lot of people would say, well, no, it's only helping the experience, but in actuality, like you said, yes, the IQ points drop, and it does change. It actually is a big deal, and I looked into it because I have a kid, had a kid that was in high school, and you would hear these teachers from school systems that banned cell phones in school during the day. And they were like, yeah, they're passing their tests, they're talking to each other, they're
Yeah.
working together to help each other in certain instances. And after they're done, when they're done with their work, what do? They actually communicate with each other
Yep.
instead of get sucked into their phone. And again, yes, it's a branch off of what we're talking about now. But
But
uh, but
it's
especially in
it's
education,
all
like what
related.
Stanley said, yeah, it is a big deal. And man, the adults are the ones in the room making the decisions, and the adults have to make the right decisions, and that's the
I
problem,
I
right?
still know a lot of educators that are, the kids need technology in the classroom to prepare them for that because they've been all brainwashed by
For
this
the future,
to prepare them for the jobs that they're going to have in the future.
right?
Okay, sure, but you don't have to start that in kindergarten.
No,
You don't have to give them laptops to take home in kindergarten.
yeah,
I mean,
agreed.
you can totally wait for the technology usage until they're teenagers when their brain is at least partially developed. Because your brain doesn't fully develop for men until late 20s, early 30s, and then and women, mid 20s.
Or late '60s for that matter,
Or
sometimes.
yeah, or
But
never.
uh, but anyway, Eric Thurman says my uncle used to hand paint backgrounds for movie
Awesome.
sets. Hell yes. Are you
You look
serious?
at, yeah, I mean, the matte paintings that they used for the
Oh man.
backgrounds are so incredible, and you cannot even come close to them. I don't care how good your CGI work is, it will never compare to those matte paintings
The
and
volume.
the forced perspective that they used
Yeah.
to help create those scenes. If you look at the behind the scenes on uh, Darth Vader's command ship in Return of the Jedi, and how they did that front window, and how they did the uh, the control the where all the officers were on the lower part, all that stuff. It's really awesome how they did all that.
It's
Uh,
very talented people.
yeah, yeah.
And it is a craft. Want to hit up a few comments. Say hello to Frank Dooman. You, what's up, Frank? How you? Hell are you, buddy? Okay. Cipher 63. We'll move through these.
Yep.
Says what Hasbro is not recognizing is that a big part of collecting is the artwork itself. When the art is obviously AI, it detracts from the overall experience and diminishes the item's collectability. I'm not against using AI as a tool, but
And Dan
don't.
Larson actually talked to Hasbro about that specific thing.
Okay, okay. Cypher 63 continues, says, I'm not against using AI as a tool, but don't just use the first thing it spits out. Put in the effort to refine it, improve it, and make sure the final artwork meets the quality collectors expect.
I,
And that's
I,
just on this aspect of
yeah,
it.
I guarantee you there is a dozen passes or more on each one of those pieces that they have put out, and stuff still slips by because you get mind numbed to all the different versions that you're seeing, and you can't really differentiate between them. And so
Okay.
you just pick one because of time and you throw it out there, and then somebody points out, "Well, Bill has 6 fingers," or his hand is on backwards, or whatever.
Well, speaking of which, Stew for Lunch says, I'm waving to you with my right hand and 4 fingers and a thumb. No Stu AI saying hello to all. What's up, Stu? Great comment, by the way, and foreshadowing. Not even foreshadowing. I mean, I guess he did. He put it in before you mentioned that, but good call, Stu. Especially about the fingers. It just look. We joked about it with the AI artwork on some of the packaging,
Oh
especially
yeah.
the classified, line. And then they come back and say, no, that's a real artist. And I'm like, well, that's even worse. That's, what are we doing here? Clint Jorgensen's here. What's up, buddy? Horse and Buggy are two modern movies. Should just be caveman drawings again. I mean, look, it is what it is. I get where George is saying, because George has always been a innovator. He's always been someone who pushed the boundaries. You're talking about, with Lucasfilm, ILM. You're talking about Jurassic Park. You're talking about, a lot of those technologies of pushing CGI in particular. So not only model making and moving that from the 50s
Right.
into the 70s and 80s and how that really took off in practical effects, but then into the CGI aspect. So I could see if George was a 27-year-old filmmaker or 35-year-old filmmaker again, he would be using AI and he would be
Yeah.
tweaking and he would be doing what he did to the special edition Star Wars movies. Kroll used a shitload of matte. Kroll movie used a shitload of matte painting. Yeah, I mean, look, how many of them, right? So many of them use matte paintings. And you know what, Matthew? We usually remember those, don't we? We
Yeah.
usually remember those
Yeah.
scenes, and we usually remember
Yeah.
those
They
matte
they stick
paintings.
they stick in our heads for
They
sure.
stick.
There's no
More
AI.
than CGI.
Lucas hasn't used AI for anything. He's retired
Oh
from
no,
filmmaking.
no. But I mean, if he were right, but
Yeah.
he did
Well,
not.
Disney
You're
Disney will try to do it, I'm sure, when they do their remake.
well. I can't wait for our very feminine Luke Skywalker to take the screen in the OT remakes.
Luke-Ella Skywalker.
Oh no. Uh, so yeah, I thought that was interesting,
Yeah.
and George is probably not going to be having a lot of comments from here on out. You will
Yeah, no.
randomly hear stuff from him, but if you've seen his physical state, he is not exactly in a good place right now. I
Yeah.
don't think, and even
Yeah.
watching interviews with him, I do kind of hate it sometimes because he'll forget a lot of stuff while he's trying
So
to
so there was
explain things.
somebody mentioned it earlier, and it is actually pretty funny. So George Lucas was in the new Minions movie.
Okay, yes, I was going to ask you about that because
Yeah.
I had it up there starred.
Yeah, so he's in this glass box in this museum that people can come and talk to him, and he's like, "Can I go to the bathroom?" And they say, "No." And he said, "Can I have a phone?" And it said, "No, you're just going to use it to call the police for help." is they have Lucas trapped in this box to be entertaining exhibit of
Oh
the
God.
museum of
It's
film.
a Hall of Presidents at Disney World or whatever or some shit,
Well,
like.
it was a film museum, so it had a
Oh,
bunch of
okay.
yeah,
Speaking of which, his museum opens what next year, I believe.
yep.
And a very small part of it is Star Wars.
He wanted to not have it at all, but he had to acquiesce and put something in there.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. And okay, so we would be remiss if we did not bring up a very well-known actor and someone that I just happened to mention a movie that he was in. Actor Sam Neill,
Yep.
78 years young, passed away. Unexpected medical event. I have not dug into that, nor do I need to.
Yeah.
But it is a bummer because this guy was iconic and very memorable, and
A lot of
obviously,
roles.
yeah, a lot of roles. But this one is Dr. Alan Grant being
Yep.
one of the more well known for most people.
Well, and I thought somebody had a great comment. I said, I hope he made it to Montana. That because that's from his Hunt for Red October character.
I saw that actually earlier, and I had to
Yeah.
look it up because
Oh, you had to look it up.
I did. Man, it's you. I've told you, Matthew, like, man, some of you guys out there, and you included, man, you guys pull up, quotes and one-liners and scenes, and I'm like sitting there having to, run around in my head going, what is that for? And a lot of y'all are just so much quicker on the take, and it takes me a minute. I had to look it up. But I did see that on X earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 star Sam Neill was awesome. And
Yeah.
then quickly, Mother Slug says best CGI used in a film, which at the time was the first character model, the young Sherlock Holmes
Oh
movie,
God. Oh, that was so
1985.
terrible.
Stained glass
Oh,
fighter, awesome scene, short but great looking.
oh man,
No, no papers, no papers.
man, I couldn't. That I was like, that is so bad. That animation is so terrible. Um, the favorite one of mine is from The Last Starfighter, which I thought that was pretty good. And Tron. I mean, Tron was literally, I think, the first one that
Yeah,
actually used it,
yeah.
and it used it in a limited capacity, but it made sense with the universe. So there's definitely been good uses of it, even in the early days. Now, Lawnmower
Yes.
Man, that was pretty
Okay,
terrible.
you just took the words out of my mouth because I was literally going to say Lawnmower Man.
That one was
And
pretty terrible.
and I remember seeing that and thought, "Oh gosh, like that is brutal, just
Yeah.
brutal." Yeah, Lawnmower Man. As much as I wanted to love that movie, I remember going to a Halloween party, and that was the movie of the day. That's what we were going to watch that night, Lawnmower Man. And I just remember being like, "What do we?" Like, this is fucking terrible. But
Yeah.
especially the CGI in it was just rough. And I agree with you there, Mother Slug, to an extent. But the reason it's overused is because it's so iconic, right? It's just that's just the way it is. Like it's hard to get around that. So it is. I'm with you
So,
there, but at the
the,
same time, there's a reason why it's
so
talked about so often.
yeah, because I mean, if you look at Tron from the base standpoint, they did so many creative, innovative, very costly things to make that movie possible. I mean, they literally shot it, and then they had three or four different layers of film that they had to overlay to create it, to animate it, and then throw up the CGI backgrounds and stuff like that. So they did a lot of work to
I,
create that movie, and it cost so much money, and it didn't do anything back for them.
Right. I was just getting ready to say, and it did not perform at all.
But it is an amazing piece of art from that standpoint.
I agree. Tony's Figs is here. What's up to you, Tony? What's going on, man? How you doing? But good to see you. On the West Coast, or at least on the west side of the nation. Speaking of Halloween, Matthew. Speaking of Halloween, I found your Halloween costume,
Oh boy.
yes, people say, hey, Pop, you wear the Bucky the Beaver outfit at Joe Fest, and you run around like a goofball. Well, Matthew, I've found something for you. You're not going to look like a goofball. You're actually going to look like the toast of the town
Oh
in
yeah.
your own Rod of the Hutt Halloween costume from The Mandalorian and Grogu Star Wars movie, hugely successful movie. I could see you. Look at those hands. Look at those feet. Look at. I could see you
That's
with that
isn't
12 pack.
isn't that the action figure, not the Halloween costume?
Hey, look, I don't make the pictures, Matthew. I don't even, this isn't even, I didn't make this in AI. Someone else did, okay? I can't take credit for this. I can only see you in this costume at
Oh,
Halloween.
that's funny.
It's fucking awful is what it is.
funny.
I don't know where the hell this came from. Discussing film on their
Oh,
X
wow.
account
No,
says
yeah, that's
first
funny.
look at the Rod of the Hutt Halloween costume. And I
nice.
thought, is it really? I don't know if it is. This is honestly
Hey,
just
you know what?
brutal.
I sent you those Hot Wheels Speed Racer.
Yes, you did.
Mandalorian and Grogu racers that they have going on from Hot Wheels. I mean, there was like 16 of them at the Target I was at, and they're not going to move like every other thing from that movie. They're going to sit on shelves and warm those pegs up.
They can't even sell the Lego shit from that damn movie, right? Like usually you can sell the Lego stuff, but no, Legos is not going to sell. But I saw this and I immediately was like, oh yeah, Matt. And put your hat on top.
Yeah.
It'd be beautiful.
So you're saying that I should meet GI Bro wearing this costume, right?
Oh wow. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Unlike Conor McGregor, I would pay to see that fight, my friend.
$16 million, 69 seconds to go out there and say, ow, I hurt my knee.
I feel bad for anybody that paid to get that. Although these days, I don't even know if they do pay-per-view anymore. It's just
the rest of the card was great, was fine. But, that's just a huge shame. And, fewer and fewer people are going to watch the UFC because of shit like that. And nobody's going to watch another Jake Paul thing because every time he puts on an event, it turns to shit. It's all
garbage,
bullshit.
trash.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah, the jig is up. The jig is up, Jake. Everybody's on to your shit. They should have been from the beginning.
I was never a part of it, but that I had a hope for that Tyson fight until the rules came out. And I'm we're done.
Oh yeah.
Because
fucking joke.
Tyson would have killed him if they hadn't handcuffed him with the rules.
Absolutely. Old Henry. Off subject, but I just saw Old Henry, dude, all time. Old Henry.
Yep. It's a good one.
Definitely off subject, but Lawnmower Man was a completely strange movie. Makes no logic to a story. No, it was. And honestly, when you watch it
as a kid, I watched this movie as a teenager.
Yeah,
I loved it, but that was also before The Matrix came out, right?
When you watch the acting though, and the dude's trying to play like he's whatever.
Yeah. Special. He's special.
Yeah, he's special. All right. Marlboro Man at Halloween. Then I have to go as Harley Davidson, as Stu asks. Yeah, for sure. A walking turd, 100%. But if we put Matthew's hat on it, it will magically turn into
Frosty the Snowman.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Hello. It's like I can't call you a walking turd with a hat. That's fucking terrible. I'd never do that. Let's see here. Yeah, if we had to reverse it, then 3-star would be Harley Davidson. I would be the Marlboro Man. Obviously. Hello. Anyway, so let's see. Mother Slug says I would rather have to dress up as a toilet and follow him around and get someone else's STP. That's pretty good. Okay. And Sophie Cunningham killed it. Yeah, look. Sophie Cunningham, she is a national treasure. All right. Wait, touched by an angel, Stu? What are you talking about? Or is that touche? You know how hard it is to do touche without your phone taking over? Like, your phone is taking over that you typing that, right? That's an autocorrect nightmare right there. I like to make a list of autocorrect nightmares, that's for sure. Because we all have our own, I'm sure. One, for some reason, my phone just does not want to spell my son's name right. It just
Well, yeah.
refuses to spell my son's name right, and it will not save it into the autocorrect file that it holds. And so I have to constantly change it. Because I'm like, man, if I text my ex and misspell my son's name, she's going to think I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
He did mean touched, as in the lawnmower man was touched in the head.
Oh, okay, my bad. I went. The word. I got a few words for special, Stu, but I will go with touched.
Isn't special enough? Special,
It's very,
special,
very
special friend.
enough. Holy crap! All right, we're good. Before we fall deeper down the well, let's just take a quick run through of the box office. And there's a reason I want to do this, because the next topic is going to be shaped around the current box office, because sitting at number 1 is Moana. Wow, 47 million domestic. Matthew, 52 international. All the Pacific Islanders have showed up to see this movie in mass. All the islands from the Pacific have showed up to watch Moana at number 1 after 4 days. What do you think, man?
Well, it definitely performed under expectations, because they were expecting a whole lot more for opening weekend.
Oh, I don't
that's
know,
for sure.
$30 million more.
Yeah, right. That's what they were
Minions,
projecting.
Minions and Monsters, after a couple of weeks, you gave it a thumbs up, said, hey, go take the kids. You know, they'll enjoy it. Maybe not as good as some previous, but
Yeah,
you reviewed that last week.
It's all right. Yeah,
Yep, and sitting at number 2, Toy Story 5, still raking it in to an extent.
It's tapering off, though, a little bit faster than we might have expected.
But it is up there near $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean,
sure,
it's closing in, and you know, it's a well-made movie, and you know, they did a good job with it. So
yes, and as Clint mentions, Motu is still up there. Now it's not up there, but it is still there after all 40 days almost. But look, Evil Dead Burn. I don't know my interest in seeing this.
I haven't heard a lot of good things about it
either. Have not either. I just don't know what you do with Evil Dead at this point. And
look, I'm going to echo what other people have said. If Ash isn't in it and Sam Raimi isn't doing it, it's not the Evil Dead.
That's kind of my thing. I mean, I just can't. And obviously, there's a reason why Ash won't be in any.
Yeah. Well,
films,
I mean, maybe we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, well, I really don't want to see that.
Okay.
Young Washington is really kind of the surprise. You know, after 11 days, when it came out, it was beating Supergirl, which is not a hard feat. But at the same time, look, domestically, obviously, there's a disparity. 34 million versus 8. We knew that would happen. But I've heard great things about this. I have talked to people at my bar who have seen it. They really enjoyed it for what it is. Yeah. And it's not a full progression of his life. It doesn't cover everything. It is just a segment of, I've heard good things about it, and people have given it a good review that I have talked to that have actually enjoyed it. Want still
hanging on, man.
Still, dude, $750,000 budget, at $427 million. You want to talk about a happy person.
Yeah.
And then Supergirl, after a little under 3 weeks, is just an absolute disaster. An absolute
have we got
disaster.
it? Oh, yeah, okay.
And here's the deal. You know, Matthew, I can't remember when, and look, I'm not going to take like a bunch of credit. I can toss numbers out there. You toss numbers out there, right? We listen to certain people. We look at things. But I really honestly was like, this movie's not going to make $200,000. It was being bandied about. It was going to $200 million rather. It was going to make $300 million. You know, it was maybe do 350.
I thought it was going to hit 250. I thought it was going to hit 250.
I'm telling you, man, the word of mouth on this thing after not only the red carpet premiere, but the first couple of days, and it absolutely destroyed this movie,
Yeah.
and it's going to be lucky to make 140,
Yeah.
150.
Look, I mean, every day it's dwindling off to
Terrible.
nothing, and I don't see how it lasts to the end of the month in theaters with this kind of progression. I just don't see them keeping it in theaters that long, unless there's one theater that has it in, so DC can say it was still in theaters until the end. Uh,
Well, actually, no. It is going to be going to digital
at the end of the month,
pretty, yes,
it's,
very
it's
soon.
so I don't see how this movie stays in theaters to the end of the month.
No, as a matter of fact, as it shows right here, Supergirl's reportedly targeting, let's see here,
Hey, and guess when
a
Mandalorian and Grogu comes out on
July
streaming?
28 release. What, tomorrow?
July 26th is
Okay,
when
there you go.
Mandalorian and Grogu comes on streaming. So 2 days before Supergirl,
Yeah.
and Supergirl comes out what 2 days before Spider-Man hits theaters.
Right. So
So
so what does that tell you? This has been an absolute disaster. I don't know how James Gunn survives another
he doesn't.
year.
He
Uh,
can't.
I agree.
He is done. I will be surprised if they don't pull a what they did to Snyder on this Man of Tomorrow movie. If they don't bring in Joss Whedon or somebody else to take over
Oh,
production,
he's too proud for that.
all they have to do is manufacture a health crisis for him, and that's easy enough for them to throw that out there in the press, pull him off the thing, and then
Sure.
put somebody else on. Zack Snyder wanted to come back to finish the film for Justice League, and they refused. They wouldn't let him because they were satisfied with what Joss was
Folks,
doing.
folks, all right, look.
Even though he
200
lost his daughter, he was still wanted to come back to finish the film.
right. May who knows, depending on how these wheels turn, maybe back. I don't know. Supergirl's earning $201 per theater.
That
$201 per
is
theater.
not worth the space that it's in. They need to get those out. They
Yes.
can't have that in more than one theater in any theater, right? One sitting room, right?
Yeah, no. It's just it's over, and people are over it. And I don't think James Gunn's name can do anything at all to save any future
Nope.
anything, regardless whether it's Clayface or whatever. Teen Titan doesn't matter. People
Yeah.
are over it, and the funny thing is, they're over it quick. I mean, this era is going to come and go like a blip on the screen. It's amazing how quickly. So Disclosure Day still hanging in tough after a little
Gosh.
over a month, basically. Jackass best and last
There you go.
after 18 days, bringing in about 25 million.
Yay.
I'd say their budget was probably what do we got here? $10 million. So
Yeah.
hey, whatever. It's one last pass for those guys to have some fun. And then Scary Movie. Michael, after 81 days, passed the $1 billion mark. So check it out. For those of you that hadn't seen it, it is a
Yeah.
walk down memory lane. And
Yep.
then Masters of the Universe after 39 days. But I believe, and we've talked about it, is that Masters of the Universe is a setup. It is a setup that I think they are going to continue to put money into this IP. And I think this is just the appetizer, so to speak,
Yeah.
the pre-dinner drink or the pre-dinner, salad, so to speak. And I think they're going to put some money into it, and they're going to probably try to make some shows, some TV or streaming, and see if they can get this thing moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a total bust as far as creativity is concerned, but obviously at the box office, it did not live up to any expectations whatsoever. So there's your numbers, folks, for this week. Next week's numbers are going to be quite interesting.
Yeah.
And the reason why I mainly want to bring this up is because of Moana. And the trades are already coming out, Matthew, with the articles. Like Variety here. Moana could lose at least $100 million in theaters. Does Disney need to rethink its live action remakes? We have the Hollywood Reporter. Why Moana sank with its box office opening. We have another article here from IGN. Disney's live-action Moana bombs at the box office with opening weekend that barely beats Snow White. And
Well,
then,
they didn't say that about Supergirl.
well, I'm surprised it's interesting. I'm surprised that Moana, considering that the cast and the
You
Pacific
know what I
Islander
heard?
part of it is that I'm surprised it is getting these articles immediately.
You know what I heard was the biggest detractor from just the man on the street.
What's that?
The Rock in a wig and a bodysuit looks so weird.
It is odd to
Yeah,
see The Rock and trying to play this part. So here's my thing. As we see here on this comicbook.com, Moana could be a bigger box office bomb than Black Adam. So all of these articles, the way that the media is covering it, is not good. Here's my thing about these live action remakes. Animation does so much heavy lifting,
yep,
right? The animals, for instance, right? The exaggerated antics and emotions of the animals, even the
yeah.
main characters or secondary characters, right? And all of them, if you think about it, we've got a list. We're going to go down this list for you guys to show you what these movies have been bringing in and kind of what they've looked like over the years since they started at Disney. But would you agree that the animation, the stylistic part of the animation, does so much of the entertaining in these movies that when you translate it to live action, it just can't possibly live up to what the animation does, right?
Right.
I mean, to
It
me,
it really can't. So let me share this if I can.
sure. Here,
Let me
I'll
let
I'll
me
pull. I'm gonna pull this down, and then if you've got something, by all means, bring it up.
Yeah, so let's see. There we go. Wait, that one. Yeah, there we go. So this is the wig and the bodysuit. This is a 40-pound bodysuit that he is wearing,
Oh God.
right? So this whole thing is a 40-pound prosthetic suit that he's wearing. And look at that. I mean, you can tell. I mean, they try to cover it up with the necklace, they try to cover up with the gauntlets, but all the seams are strategically hidden with the hula skirt and all that stuff. But you can see this is a prosthetic bodysuit, and then the wig on top of it. Man, that wig.
Well, and honestly, just I mean, look at his face.
Yeah,
I mean, aging is a bitch.
yeah,
It's a fact of life. If this were The Rock from 10 years ago,
right,
right, then it's far more believable without the assistance of any kind of de-aging or CGI or anything, right?
right.
But this is where we're at right now. And I'm with you. When I've seen those messages, as Eric says, what the,
You're right.
and Stanley, the bodysuit, is
Yeah,
that
that's it.
it's not convincing. And unfortunately, as much as maybe you were able to suspend your disbelief in some instances, whenever you see, like when I've seen the trailers for this movie and I've seen The Rock, that's not the character,
Yeah,
right? That's
it's
not
not.
to me the character.
Even
It's
in his prime, he couldn't be as big and as Samoan as the character's supposed to be,
You're
right?
right.
Even though he is Samoan, he doesn't have that part of the genetic structure
Yes.
to be big like that. And also, he is at an age where he doesn't want to go back and start juicing again for roles because that is so incredibly hard on the body. And he looks at what happened to Schwarzenegger over the whole thing. Even
Right.
when Schwarzenegger, thinned down for a lot of his roles, they still had that presence of like, hey, you still got to do some juice for this or whatever. But yeah, and I did find that other post that
Yeah, go ahead and pull that up. As The Rock falling out of shape to have to wear a bodysuit. Well, and that's the
it,
thing, Stanley.
it
We're talking about he is our age, if not
yeah,
older, and so like you think about it, having all that muscular weight in general it's not good for his frame. And you saw those articles coming out about him. Was he sick?
Right.
Is he doing a role? Whatever. And maybe so as part of that, but also part of it is that like he can't be the guy that was the wrestler weight
Right.
guy that had the muscles. You can't work out like that as you get older. And so yeah, I appreciate them trying to go this route with him to an extent, but I don't think anybody could have filled that role unless instead of doing the muscular bodysuit, you just got a big, fat fucking Samoan guy who has a stature.
Right.
Does that make sense
Yeah.
to me? Like one
Well,
of these
and
big dudes that's just
and
a
I know,
big motherfucker.
and I know some of those big Samoan guys can move the way that he would need to move too. I know they can because there's a lot of muscle under their structure
Sure.
for some of those guys. So this
Sorry.
is, I don't know if you can see all that or not, but these are from Variety, both coming from Variety. And Moana creatives on working on the Odyssey to honor Polynesian culture and traditions and why representation matters in live action form. The Odyssey star Lupita Nyong'o responds to the racist casting backlash. This is my thoughts on my
This is a mythological story.
It's a mythological story, yeah.
So you can't win then.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
and that's
either
the point.
on one side or the other, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't. It's a mythological story, so we can kind of just do whatever with whatever culture and twist it and add whatever we want. But then on the other hand, it's like, oh wow, they're really respecting the
Right.
Pacific Islander culture. And,
Right.
yeah, of course you can't win.
You can't
never win.
you can't win because the logic's there isn't any logic to their arguments.
No.
It's all emotion and how they want it to be representative, and you can't say that that's wrong because then you're racist. Even though the people of Greece have stood their ground and said no to this movie.
we're gonna get into the Odyssey. I just wanted to touch on Moana for a minute because really the crux of it is I wanted to get into what Disney has done with their live action as far as each one of these and how have they done. So quickly, I will share this one thing before we actually move to a couple of the lists that I have to show people about the mostly diminishing returns. Moana has opened with $43 million domestically. One of the lowest openings for a live-action Disney remake ever. Budget was $250 million. $250 million.
I don't know how they spent that much money on that movie.
Dude.
I don't get it. I don't understand how they're spending $250 million on these $100 million movies or these $80 million movies.
It's why would you spend that much? That's
Exactly.
the other question. Like why would you spend that much money on
and until these big
right?
studios can make $80 million, $100 million movies, they're not going to get back to any kind of level of profitability ever again if they keep throwing $250 to $400 million at a movie.
Correct. So there's a couple of charts that I want to bring up, and let me just make sure I have these pull these up correctly. Sometimes your PC is like, no, you have to download a a extension to bring that up. But so yeah, let me grab this really quickly off of here.
Eric, it's not fake jobs by fake people. It's all the producers which have to meddle and do things and change things and whatever to justify their salary. So on that respect, fake jobs, fake people, sure, but they're all producers. It's why you have 28 producers on some of these things, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, no, exactly. All right, let me bring that out a little bit. Okay, so the first thing I want to show here is the Disney live action remakes from the box office. This is kind of a report that I compiled. And let's see.
What's up, Todd C?
Todd, how the heck are you, buddy? Okay, so this is worldwide box office gross, and it has the year that it's come out. So we can look at what has done the best for them, what has brought in the most money at the box office. The Lion King at $1.6 billion, being the highest grossing live action remake in 2019. That was 7 years ago, folks. Okay. Beauty and the Beast 2017 at 1.2 billion. Now, I've seen both of those films. I thought The Lion King was atrocious. I thought Beauty and the Beast was fine. It has issues, but I thought it was fine. Okay. Aladdin 2019, a little over 1 billion. Lilo and Stitch last year, 1 billion. Okay. Now, after that, Alice in Wonderland 2010, 1 billion. Now, that was the Johnny Depp. Okay.
Yeah.
They did that in 3D. I did go to see that in the theaters, and it is not good. It's amazing it made that much money. And then you have The Jungle Book in 2016, Maleficent in 2014 with 750, right? So a big drop.
Yep.
Obviously, Mufasa, The Lion King, and then Little Mermaid, Cinderella, Maleficent. Dumbo was a real disaster for them.
The people that got burned on watching the live action Little Mermaid are going to destroy these other films coming up. I mean, because so many people got burned by that one. They're like, this was so awful and culturally reappropriating stories. And instead of telling the African mermaid stories, they decided to usurp a Mediterranean and, Western mermaid story.
Right. So, I kind of want to give an idea about also with the budgets and live action. And so I see a few comments, and I want to hit those up momentarily, but I wanted to share this tab here for you guys. Okay. So, let's scratch out the Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book from 1994. Okay. And
starring Sam Neill.
Right. And 101 Dalmatians, 102 Dalmatians. I kind of want to get into more of the modern area, like Maleficent that spent $180 million on budget, made 758. It's a pretty good return, right? Pretty good return. Cinderella, 2015, $95 million budget, $543 million.
Now, Shad loves that movie.
Not bad. Yes, Shad does love that movie. 2016, The Jungle Book, $175 million, $966 million at the box office. A pretty damn good return, right? Alice Through the Looking Glass, sequel to the Alice in Wonderland in 2016, $170 million budget, barely under $300 million. Beauty and the Beast, a hell of a return, $160 million budget, $1.264 billion, right? So there's reason why Disney would continue some of these. And as we see, Christopher Robin.
I actually like Christopher Robin,
but a bomb at the box office for them. Dumbo also, Aladdin a success, The Lion King a success, Maleficent
a success,
barely a little bit success. Mulan, $200 million budget, brought in $70 million in 2020. Now, COVID maybe had something to do with that.
COVID had a lot to do with that. Also, I believe in my heart of hearts that a large portion of the Asian community refused to go see that movie on principle.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you were from China and you lived outside of China, you would absolutely boycott that movie because they literally thanked the concentration camps in China that are murdering people every day and imprisoning people into slave labor every day in communist China. They thanked those concentration camps in the credits of the movie.
And that, once that got out, that definitely rubbed a lot of people wrong, but a lot of people didn't know about that, but once that spread around, yes, that did affect whether people were going to go see the film or not. And then as you get into more recent times, as we look at, for instance, Cruella, $100 million budget, $233 million at the box office. Little Mermaid, $240 million budget, 570. The Lion King, Mufasa, the Lion King. It's such a recognizable name, and I think a lot of people went into it after the first one thinking, okay, this is going to be just as good, which whatever your definition of good is.
Yeah, right.
And then really Snow White is the one that really hurts, right? Because $270 million budget, $205 million return. And so point being is that they've had successes within these live actions, and that's the reason they keep doing them. Regardless of what we think about whether they're any good or not, they've had returns on these.
Yeah.
And therefore, I get it. I get why they keep doing them. But, dude, there's only been, in my opinion, maybe on one hand or less, right?
Right.
Ones that I think are actually worth watching.
So
you cannot beat the originals. You just can't. You can't beat the animated originals.
I want to share this one too.
Sure.
I didn't mention this to you before, but I was thinking about it today, and I actually had a conversation with one of my 23-year-old employees today about this in particular. Now, there's a movie made back in 2016 that will be directly analogous and comparable to the Odyssey. And it also starred Matt Damon. The Great Wall.
The Great Wall of China. Oh,
yes.
Gosh, yes. Ha! I remember this. And I thought this is one of the dumbest premises that I can think of.
I mean,
in China with this guy.
Yeah.
Lunchbox Killer, how the hell are you?
I mean, what are you trying to be? Tom Cruise in Japan? What are you trying to be? John Wayne in China? I mean, come on now.
Yes. and War Chest is absolutely right. It is absolutely terrible. It's
so bad.
Awful. It is a brutal movie, and
I believe that this Odyssey movie will be comparable to that because of the talent that they had to try to make this movie come forth. Nolan's name may carry it a little bit further, but not by much.
So that's going to bring us into the Odyssey. All right. Look, as more and more stuff comes out, look, we went over the ratioing of the official trailer and how it grew and grew and grew and how many dislikes that trailer has. Now, for most people, they're not going to be able to see that information unless you download the Chrome extension for the dislike button.
Yeah.
So you can actually see how many dislikes videos have. A lot of people don't have it. I recommend downloading that Chrome extension.
Yep.
And Mother Slug says, hey, I thought the Great Wall was amazing. It was awesome. Man, I don't know. What would make the Great Wall unforgettable? I know.
As if Ram Man knocked it down at the end? I mean, I don't know. I mean, what?
No, it'd be Fisto, my favorite. Fisto would fist the hell out of that wall. Okay.
Hey, Ram Man's wearing all red with silver. I'm just saying.
So out of the theater reaction from a couple of guys that you and I both like, we both trust their opinions. And this is the Film Threat channel. This is Chris Gore and Alan Ng, and this is their out of the theater review of the Odyssey. And I'll play just a little bit of it because it goes on for a minute. And Mother Slug, I know you were.
Yeah.
I figured you were being sarcastic there. Okay, so here's just an early opinion by a couple of guys that I know you and I both like to watch.
Here we are, Alan, with our out of the theater review of the Odyssey, our social media reaction.
Christopher Nolan.
What do you think?
I was bored out of my mind. I was checked out on this movie pretty much from the beginning. The sound was awful. I couldn't understand dialogue. And then I started to understand dialogue and realized how bad the dialogue is. This is the most pretentious movie I've seen all year. And I can't wait to not see this movie again.
The thing that didn't work for me mostly was the accents. The way they spoke, I felt diminished the film. It felt too modern. And in a way, it kind of felt like El Topo. Alejandro Jodorowsky's El Topo was like a modern Western, and this felt like a modern epic. And just, look, there are parts that drag, especially the first half. But then there are also moments, in particular with the Cyclops, I thought were great. The fall of Troy, I thought
The Witch.
the witch with
Samantha
played by
Morton.
Samantha Ward. She was very good, and the way they the
Yeah.
soldiers trans.
So look,
You can look at
sure.
their faces. Look at their
Yes.
faces. And Chris is trying to be as positive as he can,
Yes.
and he even
Yes.
continues on to say, it's not the worst thing ever, but it kind of drags us in places. But there's some good stuff in there. And Alan's like, he's done. He says, no, this is a boring piece of garbage. It's a waste of time.
And so look, I trust these guys. Look, these guys see more films a week
Yeah.
than anyone that I've
Anybody.
ever followed, independent and otherwise. Are they always right? Is their opinion the only opinion? No, of course not.
Well,
right?
you have to know what their tastes are to really, have a flavor
yes.
for it. And Alan has slightly different tastes than Chris does, and they have different opinions on things. And you know what? Considering how positive Alan usually is about stuff,
Yes.
man, he was
So-
like having none of this. And I go back to the same issue that he has with this that I've had with other Nolan films too. Is the more pretentious he gets, the worse the writing is, the less you can hear what's going on or understand what's happening.
So, look, are there going to be parts in this movie, whether you see it in IMAX or not, that are going to be neat, that are going to be exciting? Maybe. Sure, I'm sure there are. I don't deny that there are probably going to be parts, but unfortunately, from a lot of what I've been reading online and just seeing different people who, not the shills, not the same old people that don't pay for their tickets, and whatever, but people that actually go see the film and have, they don't recite what's been told to them to say on their social media, is that, yeah, look, a lot of the modern stuff is getting in the way. A lot of people are looking at this film and thinking it's going to be a classic retelling.
Yeah.
And you've got Travis Scott, who is going to be narrating.
Travis Scott is Homer.
Yes,
Essentially is what they're kind of saying.
right. We found out also, however, that they're not going to take this tour to Greece,
No, they're not.
which is an interesting choice, Matthew, that they're going to do London, Paris, Mumbai, New York City, Beijing, Seoul, to really kind of kick this thing off and drum up some excitement from town to town, city to city. And yet they're not actually going to do anything from Greece. Now, why?
No.
Why is that? Why do you think that is?
Well,
Why-
it might have something to do with one of the highest rated scholars in Athens, in the University of Athens in Greece, not Georgia, is out there railing on this movie and just tearing apart all of the criticism of criticisms that people are making and saying, look, this is historical. It's been around for millennia, right? It is a imperative of Western culture. It is, Beowulf, the Odyssey, the Aeneid, and the Iliad are the basis for the vast majority of Western culture, right?
Right.
And now you're taking one of the greatest stories in all of history in Western culture and trying to make it something that it's not. And by doing so, you diminish the meaning of everything that was in there, because everything that was in there for a reason. And now that they're changing it, you distort the meaning and it becomes meaningless. And that's what fascists always try to do. They try to dismantle our mythos, to dismantle our storytelling ability, to change the narrative on the stories.
What about the part where that he didn't cast any Greeks?
Not one. Well, okay, you've got John Bernthal. He's Greek passing, right?
He did get one of his lines. Yeah, he's like Pedro Pascal. He can pass for a few different races.
Yep.
So according to here we go right here. Christopher Nolan blasts the Odyssey criticism as irrelevant as director faces new backlash for the upcoming film. Let's see here. I'll get down just a little bit. because I want to get past let's see. Really want to get past this video. You can't really get past it. So I'm going to get a picture of Chris Nolan. Okay, so says here, Christopher Nolan has spoken out about the backlash he's received over his upcoming adaptation of the Odyssey, and his critics aren't happy. He says, quote, comes with the territory. The outlet described him as grinning serenely before lifting his cup and saucer and taking a theatrical sip. Nolan added, but look, these conversations that happen before people see the film, they're always irrelevant because no one having them knows what the film actually is yet. Many people don't view their issues with the film as irrelevant, nor do they seem to believe one needs to see it before criticizing it.
Well,
so
look,
the casting choice. Okay, so let me say two things really quickly. Okay, the casting choices obviously being one of the main reasons, as it states here in this article, and the other is pattern recognition.
Yeah. It's not just that. It is. Listen, all of your press, every piece of your press has to be guided to bring in as many people as possible to see your film. So you have to promote all of the positives about it no matter what. And if you go out there and you attack people as detractors and go after people that are criticizing parts of the trailers, so this is your media that's coming out that people are judging it on. What else are we supposed to judge it on? We have to judge it on whether we're going to spend our money to go see it or not. It's not like everybody goes to see whatever movie comes out this week. Everybody goes to the movie theater every single week and buys a movie ticket to see the latest movie that came out, no matter what, at all, be all, that's it. You just go and do that. That's what you do. No, people have priced out of movies, so you have to pick and choose what movies you go see, and you pick and choose it based off the media that surrounds the film. So if somebody comes out with a trailer and people are not liking what they're seeing from the trailer, they're not going to go see your movie. So what they're saying there is utter and complete bullshit. You have to see it to understand it. You have to pass the bill before you know what's in it, right? It's all the same bullshit. They're trying to distract you.
You have to be given something that intrigues you. So people will go off
there
of
has
the
to be a hook.
trailer.
Yeah.
Now, if there is some interesting information about a film, if there is some interesting casting about a film that draws you in, then yes, people will say, hey, I got to see that. Or let's say in the case of Spider-Man coming up, is that, hey, pattern recognition, these movies have been good and it's worth my money to go see this Spider-Man movie that's coming out. Okay.
I like these actors. I like this story. I like the characters that they've been playing.
Yes.
Boom. You do that, you throw in some good action scenes, you have some good positivity about it, and you go from there. You put out a shit trailer and people call it for shit, and then you call them idiots for not seeing the movie and knowing what it's about. Well, too bad. Not only did you turn off those people that were really against it, you turned off a whole bunch of other people by saying you have to see it before you can judge it. And it's
I will give him credit because in this article, he does go on to say is that what I learned over my time, and he was talking about the Batman trilogy in particular. He says, if you can't worry about any of the fan worries at all, what you have to do is honor the original text by interpreting it in the strongest way you personally can. He says, in the end, fans of the property, even when we were doing something that was not what they would have done, enjoyed the sincerity of the attempt to put as good a version of it on screen as we could. All I could do is make the best film I possibly can in the most sincere way. It's very different from how anyone else would do it, but that's what adaptation is. So look,
does this mean that he was hampered by the studios?
Okay.
Is this his out? Say that he was hampered by the studios made him make these decisions.
That is my question. Okay. My question is this his vision that he had, or for instance, casting someone like a Zendaya, who is mainly only cast not for her talent, but for her Instagram and social media followers because of such a large following. She gets cast because she has millions and millions of social media followers. She's not a good actress. I'm
Nope.
sorry.
No.
She does not add to a film. Also, when you decide to cast a very African-looking woman, okay, in a role that makes no sense at all, when you decide to not cast any Greeks in a Greek adaptation, okay, people are going to see what you're doing. When you cast Ellen Page in the role of a warrior and people see what you're doing, they are going to have questions. And as that word gets around, they're going to determine for themselves whether or not it's worth their time to go see this film. And some people will say, oh, you're making too big a deal. Okay. You know, is this a Greek warrior, or is the bodyguard next to this person a Greek warrior?
The greatest warrior ever.
Like, I don't understand, you know, so was this the studio? Was this his idea? I mean, because every guy, this looks like Rick Moranis walking out of the fucking Ghostbusters apartment building. I mean, are you serious?
Does. Did you see that walk?
Are you serious? Like, come on, dude. And I'm supposed to believe this is a man. Like, I'm sorry, but no. No. Get out of here. So when people see this and they understand what you're doing and why you're doing it.
That's how they wanted to progress their career, is that if they look like a prepubescent boy, then their career in Hollywood continues.
Well, we've seen that is a track anyway. So, yeah, come on. You're not kidding anybody. You're not fooling anybody. And all the camera tricks and angles you want to use and forced perspectives and all that bullshit is not going to take people's mind off of the fact of your casting decisions.
No.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's not. And so, you know, people can say, oh, that's too much. You're putting too much into it. Well, you're also adapting one of the most famous works of art
and the character
in the history of the world.
And the character that Elliot is playing is not from this story.
Well, yes, you're correct.
Not even in the story.
Other part, right? I mean, it's just it doesn't. So when you add these things up, yes, there are people who are like, okay, yes, you're adapting this story the way your vision is, but what vision is this then?
Yeah.
If you're modern day, changing the wording to fit modern day, so it's one thing to do a modern retelling of Romeo and Juliet.
They say, fuck yeah. They say they use modern language in this movie, and it doesn't make sense.
But that's my point. If you're doing a modern day retelling of
The
Great Gatsby or Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, Leo DiCaprio, Claire Danes, Romeo and Juliet.
We get it. Like, you can get it to an extent, right? But that's Baz Luhrmann. That's a style.
Yeah, that's a style. You know what, that Romeo and Juliet movie, I actually really appreciated because they used the language, the Shakespearean language, and put the imagery with modern stuff on there. I thought it was so crazy at the time that it came out. I loved it because they stayed true to the story, and they just had these outlandish characters in this modern type of setting. And I'm like, that was a take, and it was interesting. And this is not that. This is not that. It's trying to be three things that it can't be all at the same time.
So I've got a couple videos here from a couple of the stars. John Leguizamo is in this.
Yes,
and we're going to hear a little bit from John Leguizamo, as Eric asked earlier.
His best movie was Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was what, 40 years ago?
30
Okay.
somebody now?
So let's set up a couple of these comments here, and then I'm going to play a couple things from the Odyssey, and at least a couple of comments from some of the actors really quickly. Let's see. Mother Slug says, I picture the movie God of War game directed by Nolan would have Kratos starring as Colin Salmon. Colin Salmon?
Yeah, I'm sure that, yeah. I mean, I don't want anybody making a God of War movie right now because
No.
they're going to use the wrong stories. They're going to use the wrong actors. It won't be God of War.
You already know. You already know. And War Chest says, hey, you know what? Tom Holland sucks. Look,
It's an opinion.
Personally, I like the guy. I think he's done a fine job as Spider-Man.
And some of the stuff he says is pretty based.
Yeah, he's pretty based, dude. But hey, I totally respect it. I know that there's a lot of people who
I mean,
definitely,
he is a Zendaya simp,
feel
though,
that way.
So, you know.
That's true. Cypher63 says they've wanted to adapt for modern audiences. They could take the same approach as Romeo and Juliet starring Leonardo. Right, exactly.
So, you know, but what they're not understanding is the definition of modern audience. They don't understand who their audience is. And that's the problem, is because that modern audience that they're chasing after doesn't exist.
No. Todd C. Talking about the movie had Pedro Pascal. Can't be that bad. He was a little behind talking about the Great Wall, but that is all right because I have gotten myself in trouble commenting on shit. And people are like, yeah, that was like 27 minutes ago. And I'm like, oh, shit. So, yeah, no, all good. Let's see. Yeah, also, the Mother Slug, that's the norm nowadays. If you don't like it, you don't know better, then they will label you. Yeah, so here's the problem, okay? And some of the video like that we're about to look at and stuff is, and that's talking about, obviously, Elliot Page, is that the problem is that, you know, Matthew, we didn't cast the movie. We don't write the movie, okay? We don't race swap or gender swap. We don't do that. That's not our choice. But when we react to those choices, what happens is then, yes, you get labeled. And what happens is they try to put you on your back foot. You're no longer debating the merits of the film. You're having to debate the fact that you're not a racist or you're not an istophobe or you're not this or you're not that. So it's not no longer.
Wasn't even talking about any of that.
It's no longer about the film, right?
Yeah.
It becomes about you having to defend yourself against whatever, because then they're able to take the attention away from the film and just put it on you squarely, saying that, well, if you don't like this, it's because this.
My favorite part is it's not a big deal. Why are you making such a big deal about it? And I said, well, if it's not a big deal, why do you care? Why'd you change it?
Why change it?
Why dig your heels in on changing it if it's not a big deal?
If Helena Troy, if it wasn't a big deal to
if
cast
Black Panther was played by Ryan Gosling.
Okay, so here's the thing, and I want people to understand this, and I hope anybody.
Now, what's that Bone and Blood?
Oh, yeah. The you talk about it's on. I've watched that show.
No, you haven't. It hasn't come out yet.
Oh, no, I'm talking about it's it's where they have the ships and they have to cross through a ghost world. It's not that, but it has a similar title. I was thinking of something else. There's something that I've watched a couple seasons of.
The author of Bone and Blood has disowned Amanda Stenberg from The Acolyte, who's playing the character in the adaptation of the author's work, and the author wants nothing to do with it and has disowned it and is going to refuse to take money from it. She's completely divesting herself from the entire project because of the character. The actress that they chose to play her main character doesn't match who she described as the main character, and she feels that that's so essential to the story that she was telling in Bone and Blood that she's just out, right? And it's interesting that
Shadow
the author,
and Bone is the show I was thinking about. My bad.
And so it's a witch story. It's about an African witch who's really, really like deep, dark, black skinned witch who's going through all this stuff. And they picked Amanda Stenberg, who is in the author's mind way too pale to play that role. And so she says she's out. And so I'm glad to see an author taking a stand like this, but at the same time, it's like this is the studios putting forth they're pressured to do what they want to do no matter what, and they think we know better than you.
Right.
What's that, Mr. Wonderful?
One thing I was going to say is that whenever they have an opportunity to, okay, I was going to say this, I'm just going to say it, whatever. Whenever it has to do with any other culture other than a white or European centric culture, you cannot get your hands into that and change it up and do anything that possibly might be different to it, right? It has to be authentic. You have to cast authentically, right? You cannot cast Sebastian Stan as Black Panther. You cannot cast, right? Does that make sense? Right? No matter what other culture it is, okay? However, when it's the other way around, it's fair game, okay?
Now,
you can take any Euro or white ethnicity culture, and it's like, no, but, that can be changed up and flipped around and swapped out and everything. But you cannot do that to almost every other one. That's a no-no. That's off the table.
well,
So it's a double standard when it comes to casting and
yeah, it
adapting
really is. It
and
really
doing
is.
things. Okay?
But some people may point out that Commander Ty in Battlestar Galactica in the 70s and early 80s was played by a black man, and in the re-envisioning by Ronald D. Moore was a white guy.
I
So
mean,
that was like the one that went the other
I
way.
was gonna say, right? I was gonna say, but it's just become
People were
standard.
more concerned about the Starbuck
It has,
gender swap.
yeah, but it has become standard that, okay, well, it's okay to get in here, right, and change this up, but it's not okay if you want to go in and change this up, right?
Right.
And so that's where that double standard comes from, and it is obvious. It's so obvious.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lupita Nyong'o had a couple things to say on the red carpet recently, so I'm just going to play a couple of those things. Hey,
No, cooking, Eric. That was War Machine.
which was yeah, War Machine was, yes. Okay,
And I love
so
War Machine. War Machine
so-
is a great comic in itself. But
women run this, Matthew. Did you know that? Did you know that
Yes.
women run this? Because
really,
Lupita Nyong'o says so.
all these women that each is so vital to what happens.
The women run this.
Yeah, when you think about the Odyssey and when you think about the Trojan War, what comes to mind first is obviously the men who went to the war. But then there are so many incredible women in the story, and Chris chooses to linger with them and tell the story also from their perspective. And so it just gives you a whole new appreciation of the epic that.
Now
which
that's,
means that he's taking it from that
Okay.
translation.
That's
the feminist
interesting.
translation.
Yes, you are correct. They took a feminist translation of this movie. But what's interesting about this red carpet interview is then this interview that happened a week or more earlier, okay, she kind of has a little bit different tone when asked, and I tried to bring this up last week. This is the video. When asked if she could tell Homer one thing, if he was here watching the movie.
This is the dumbest thing ever.
And this is what she had to say. This was just several days before that last red carpet video.
I'd be like, so Homer, how do you feel about the screen time given to these women, considering how little you spend with them? Okay.
Oh, you go, girl. You go, girl.
For a person who has a literature degree, who's never even read any of these things, who doesn't even know.
Oh no,
the
she has a
original
fine
source,
arts degree from Yale, Matthew.
Yep, who's never even heard of the Odyssey before this, so she has no idea anything that's in the Odyssey and how women were actually pretty well represented in the story.
Ever heard of the Odyssey before she was presented with the script, and yet she has a fine arts degree from Yale. And again, if she was able to ask Homer one question while sitting and watching the premiere of the movie, and if he was there in the theater, this is what she'd say.
I'd be like, so Homer, how do you feel about the screen time given to these women, considering how little you spend with with them. Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you lean forward and look at him like that?
Yes, like, remember us?
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
That
If
was
you get
just a
fine
few
arts
days
degree-
earlier. That was just
You get
a
a-
few days earlier.
If you get a fine arts degree and you don't know the major literary classics like the Odyssey and Beowulf, if you haven't read the Aeneid and the Iliad, okay, fine. But you have to know the Odyssey, you have to know Beowulf, and you have to know a lot of other culturally significant pieces of art, like the Art of War or the Story of the Three Kingdoms, or those types of things. There's all kinds of stories that you should understand if you want to understand global culture, literature, as in fine arts. But
well, speaking of understanding, let's see what John Leguizamo talked about on the red carpet.
Yeah, Homer's response is, "What's a screen?" Because he was fucking blind.
Yeah, hello. Okay, how about John Leguizamo, the soothsayer that he is in his older age?
Yeah. For a minute, he was based, and then they corrected him, right? I don't hear what's going on.
Hang on, I'm queuing this
Okay.
up. I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm trying to
Okay.
get it ready. Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah, so John
Here we go.
Leguizamo was based at a moment because he went against the Latinx thing until they shut his butt down and they forced it down his throat. So he had to get on board with Latinx.
Right.
And then that was the tipping off point for his career. And when he went full, crazy guy with all this stuff.
So these questions also they're so leading but it sucks these people in, and of course it gives them a chance to get on their soapbox.
No, It's so interesting because I feel like every time I see you in a character, you never let anyone typecast you. You do so many different things. Why is that so important for you, especially like being in Hollywood this long?
Oh, wow, man, that's an incredible question because it's been my whole MO, my modus operandi, to not let Hollywood dictate my life or what I should be or who I should be, especially being a Latin man.
Of course.
I want to be the one has the agency. So I choose the roles I want to be, and I want to be as varied and as complex as Latin people can be.
Now,
so, you can be Latin in a Greek
Why didn't you
myth.
call yourself
Okay, great.
Latino? Why didn't you say Latino? Huh? Because they were going to come after you, right? Oh man, this guy sold his soul a while ago.
So here is a little cut up of a few interviews with him, and let's see if we can catch some of these classic same phrases and or talking points as we've heard many times.
Like who's casting? What stories are they telling? If you're not casting us, we're not getting awarded. I didn't even see myself in comic books. I didn't see myself as a superhero or as a goofy Archie. I didn't see myself anywhere. So how does a child create their self-esteem and know that they matter? I mean, the messaging becomes the opposite.
Okay.
How
do you create your self-esteem if you don't see yourself in a piece of art? How do you have self-esteem? Oh, listen, I don't know.
Listen, if you have zero empathy, you have to have zero empathy to not create relationship bonds with these characters. And I've heard somebody say this recently, and I joke about it all the time. He says, "Yeah, well, I'm Mr. Generic here, right? I am the fits anywhere in any situation guy because, I'm default settings." Because if you look at cultures throughout time and history, as they age, as they grow, as they mature, as they mix with other races and everything else, guess what? Everybody comes back to default. What's default? Pale skin, right? Pale skin. So pale skin, brown eyes, brown hair. I've got blue eyes and blonde hair, but other than that, I'm kind of the default, right? And so that's why I've heard this said from a black creator. He said that he liked making movies with white people because anybody can insert themselves in that person. Once you insert somebody from a different ethnicity, then you have this cultural baggage that goes along with that.
And you have to maintain it.
and you have to maintain it.
It becomes part of your identity. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see a little bit else of what he has to say here.
Yeah, he was.
Because you don't see yourself, that you don't matter, that you don't count. Because as a child, I didn't have Latin heroes. We've been erased from history.
We've been erased from history. Oh, I don't know, because I think I can think of a country that has definitely been wanting you to be part of history, especially for 4 years from 2020.
Wait, are you telling me that Batman is more culturally diverse than John Leguizamo's because Batman went to go see The Mask of Zorro? Right? So Batman went to go see The Mask of Zorro. So you've never seen Zorro. So you never read Zorro comic books. You never watched Zorro films. You never saw that Zorro was a Latin guy.
And so we're talking about him not being able to play other roles and but yet he's cast in a Greek story that has no Greeks cast in the movie, and somehow diversity is a problem with this guy. I don't get it. It's the same playbook, and that's why people are tired of it. They're tired of it.
Listen, you can go back through history and you can look at people like Edward James Olmos and the career shattering roles that he was a part of. You could look at Antonio Banderas. You could look at all these people that came before him, right? There are so many Latin actors. There are so many Italian actors. There are so many people from all the different ethnicities that have been extremely famous and popular throughout history. And he's negating all of them and saying they didn't exist. None of these things existed. It's just like Jennifer Lawrence was the first female action star ever.
Jesus, because everybody has to pretend like they're the first or they're the there was no Latin stars at all.
Never.
When he was coming up, none at all now look, I'm not stupid. If somebody comments on this stream in a couple days and they say, well, you have to think about the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and all the westerns and all this other stuff. They were casting white people as Indians or Native Americans.
Sure.
They were casting white people as, okay, yes, I get it. But you also have to understand, yes, were there reasons for that as far as racism in Hollywood? Yes, there were. But at the same time also, we also have to understand that within certain jobs and certain industries, only until recently have you had people that have tried to even get into those industries, so to speak, right? And also the number of people that you have and the people that have studied or whatever, and regardless of what other circumstances those were, it's yes, in recent times, yes, you have more people that have the ability where 70, 60, 100 years ago, whatever, did not have that ability. I fully understand that. But we're at a point in time where you turn on your television and you have sportscasters and media hosts that are black, Hispanic, Indian, Native, whatever. They're all over. You cannot tell me that there is not diversity within entertainment at this point. And it's a joke to hear this shitty argument over and over again.
It is, because if you look at film in particular, if you look at film from the 1970s forward, okay, you will find massive diversity. You have the most diverse characters and representations in all of film in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? That was the real growth period and the real healing period, and the period where we didn't care. We loved these characters. And John, we loved you back in those days.
Actually, yes, that's the thing. And it's shit like this that turns people off. And he may say good riddance, but at the same time, the feeling is fucking mutual.
Yeah, and like I said, if you go up through the 90s, I loved John Leguizamo when I saw him in movies, when I saw him in Spawn, when I saw him in Super Mario Brothers, right?
Yep.
When I see him in roles, I was glad to see him. And it's like Lou Diamond Phillips, same thing. I would follow him with anything that he would do, right? And there were certain actors that I enjoyed, and I followed their careers.
And look, I get it. A lot of people will say, well, in the 70s, all your gang members and stuff, they were Latinos and black guys, right? that was
Hey,
well.
Sam
I mean,
Rockwell was the lead gangbanger in Ninja Turtle, so don't give me that nonsense.
well, I'm just going to be honest. I'm just going to be honest, and I'm going to say go out there and go to your inner cities, and you tell me who the gang leaders and the gang members are, and report back to me what they look like. You tell me. If you want to talk about if you want to talk about diversity and you want to talk about representation, then represent real life. And if you want to represent real life, then you tell me what those gangs look like, what color are they, where do they come from? Okay?
But gangs of New York usurped all that. Well, look at the time period it was.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm speaking real. Right? Yeah. I mean, let's not fucking kid around and let's not beat around the bush. Let's be real and let's be adults here and let's be realistic, right? So yes, now, of course, every movie, it's the white man is the bad guy, no matter what superhero movie it is, whatever movie that comes out. If you want to look, generally that's the way it's portrayed. That's fine. If you want to talk about corporate America or whatever,
the white guy
fine.
was the bad guy in RoboCop. The white guy was the bad guy in Lethal Weapon. The white guy was the bad guy in Die Hard.
But my point being is that like the realistic aspect of it is like, yes, let's not kid ourselves here and pretend like when we watch all these videos that pop up in your Instagram feed and your X feed and your news feed, let's not pretend and make shit up, okay? And as Warchest says, in Missouri, they look like Bass Pro employees. And I've heard about the White Devil Gang in Missouri, Warchest. I've heard about them, and I am concerned for your safety. So please text me after this stream to let me know that you made it home, okay? Okay. So I found something a little fun. These are the comments from the Odyssey trailer that got absolutely ratioed. And someone made an AI song. I know it's not some people's favorite choice of music here. But I thought this would be a little funny to play. I did hear this on the Film Threat Versus stream on Monday night, and I thought this would be kind of funny to play just a little bit of it. This is someone who took the comments from the ratioed trailer and turned it into a song.
Woman that stole 1,000 ships. I love the Viking longship in Bronze Age Greece. I'm glad 300 was made before 2026. No face that ignored 1,000 smoke alarm chirps. Hollywood needs to learn to respect source materials. She runs a Minnesota daycare. This is gonna be Nolan's Achilles heel. Nolan lived long enough to become the villain. The Audacity by Homer Simpson. This is Netflix Cleopatra all over again. If Nolan ever gets a biography, Oprah should play him. When he call him dad, it's already over. Helen of Wakanda, that's not the Odyssey, that's an imposter. Characters wouldn't say my dad, they would say my father. Look at me, I am Helen of Troy. Now seems Nolan's humiliation ritual have been long overdue. I am the Helen of Detroit now. Jack Sparrow wouldn't even pirate this movie. Greece looks so much like Los Angeles. Helen of Troy, the woman that stole 1,000 ships. I love the Viking longship in Bronze Age Greece. I'm glad 300 was made before 2026.
There you go. There's a couple versions out there floating around. It's been kind of refined here and there, but I thought it was pretty damn funny when I heard it, and I was like, holy crap. And there's even a longer one, but those are just the comments. So somebody took the comments and then obviously loaded it up into Suno and said, rhyme these comments and put them together, and here's the style. Pretty funny shit, though. I ain't gonna lie. That's the kind of stuff for AI, like AI music, I think is funny. If you're trying to be a serious artist, I don't want your shit.
Right.
But for goofy, comedic effect, I think it's great. And so something like that. So I heard that, I was like, oh gosh, that's classic. And I have to
it's pretty
play it.
epic.
Okay, so before we get out of here, I want to just really quickly, because it is about that time, folks, to talk about, yes, that's right, the Spaceball 2 leaks. All right? And listen, before I share this, I don't want anybody getting upset at me for breaking news or, mad at me for spoiling the movie, okay? I know a cinematic treasure like Spaceballs 2 is going to be very, very looked at as a national treasure, and so just don't get mad. But here are the details. The plot for Spaceballs 2 has been revealed. Quote, somehow Dark Helmet has returned 40 years after the events of the first Spaceballs, 50 years after the events of Star Wars A New Hope, and 1 year after the events of The Devil Wears Prada 2. The galaxy is once again under threat. A threat so evil, so unstoppable, so completely lacking in any original ideas that it has vowed to bring back the past, every last bit of it. With Lone Star hiding, Queen Vespa on the throne, and the Schwartz stretched thinner than a franchise releasing TV episodes theatrically. The only hope for the galaxy is Vespa's undisciplined son, Prince Starburst, and the mysterious palace advisor named Destiny coming to the main stage, ladies and gentlemen. Together, they must find Lone Star, Yogurt, and any other iconic legacy characters fans are demanding before they discover the hard way that, while some threats you can fight, the reboot is not one of them. Spaceballs, the new one,
is predicting Disney's reboot of Star Wars.
Absolutely.
You know what? The more I see about this, the more I'm on board with it. My biggest hesitation has always been Josh Gad. The fact that he's so high up in this production has me the most worried. But I mean, the poster, everything
that's
that
the first
they're
poster.
saying. If they make fun of all this stuff, I will be so happy if Mel Brooks is still on his comedic timing game and nails this. I can't wait to see the admonishing that takes place in this movie.
Yep, we will see. Coming soon, theaters 2027. Obviously, I love this poster. We ain't found
shit. And you know what? He's going like that because he says, we still ain't found shit.
I love it, man.
Scraping the litter box for those cat turds, people.
Oh, gosh. Classic. Yeah, so that's, is that a leak? No.
No.
It played up for
that was
fun, obviously.
Yeah. And you know what? If that is the plot synopsis of it, I think I'm going to laugh my ass off through most of it.
Yeah.
If it's not, I'll be happy too. It doesn't matter. If they just go after all of this sequel reboot stuff, I will be ecstatic.
I mean, the first one obviously was definitely, I say obviously going after Star Wars, but the merchandising and all that. And actually I thought about this earlier today, and you guys can correct me in the chat. Matthew, you can tell me. I was thinking about this. You get toy manufacturers that make knockoff, right? They do runs on figures, but they don't call them Brave Star. They call them by a different name. Have we ever seen any Spaceballs manufactured by anyone ever? Have we ever seen a Dark Helmet?
So
knockoff Dark Helmet. I know why Lucasfilm and Lucas made sure they couldn't make toys, but we've seen all kinds of toys manufacturers make all kinds of off-brand stuff that looks very similar.
There have been.
See you, Stu.
See you later, Stu. Watch the replay because there's still more stuff to talk about. There have been things made, but again, it wasn't made by Brooks. It wasn't made by the people who made the movie. It was made by other people doing it on their own, and sneaking under that copyright restriction stuff. And Mel Brooks's people weren't going to go after them because they can't do merchandise for it. So, if they go after them, then Lucasfilm will go after them, and it's a three-way battle between all of this stuff.
Yeah, I get it. I just, I've seen so many figures and things made that weren't named that, but it was put out, and it obviously is that. So, just kind of a question.
Yeah,
I'd never seen any, and I just wondered if that was something that had ever been bandied about, right? Kind of a third-party thing. But, I mean, it'd be pretty cool to have a Dark Helmet figure, right? And a Lone Star and a bar.
Yeah, so...
come on.
So...
Let's not kid ourselves.
Retro Customs made some figures for them. So, yes, no official, but yes, there are plenty of knockoff action figures for them.
Right.
So yeah, Retro Customs made Spaceballs figures. There were other ones that were larger than that.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, and so there were lots of different people who made between customs or low production runs of things. If they keep them under like 1,000, nobody gives a shit.
I mean, I just, after all this time, I just assume that, really, I don't think you're really that worried about merchandising, making that much money. I hope the movie also isn't all about Easter eggs, and I also do agree, Mother Slug, about Rick Moranis, man. I watched him do kind of a little skit thing, and it was not good.
So
it was like a year ago, or maybe earlier this year. I don't know.
So he has actually been acting for the last 3 or 4 years. He's been doing things more and more, and he's done little guest things and things like that. So he's been out there. Look, he's not the same man. His life was utterly shattered and changed his life for his kids. I'm not going to begrudge him any of that. And I believe that he is up to the task for this. And the way that they would use him would be as such, right? I mean, he's going to be a defeated Dark Helmet, right? So he's going to be a different Dark Helmet. I think all that works in the favor of what's going on. Yeah. So I'm still hopeful about this one, and call me naive, call me whatever. But like I said, my biggest trepidation is always going to be Josh Gad. I don't like Josh Gad.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Curious to see or hear, what the script and everything looks and sounds like, of course. I don't know, man. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's coming. And honestly, look, I mean, Moranis has spent many years away. He did have a good, solid, 20-year run, I think, somewhere in there of from being younger to when he stepped away. But yes, it has been I think 20 years, 20-something years, right? 22, 23 years, 24 years that he kind of stepped away. And so, I mean, that's a long time to get away from the swing of things. But man, talk about a talented guy when he was in his prime, man. And without John Candy, yes, of course, that's going to be something.
Well, his son's in it, so we'll see.
Okay. It's like taking John Belushi and replacing him with Jim, right? It's like
no. That's not the same. They're brothers. They were totally different people. They were totally different people in their own right. They had their own.
Son doesn't necessarily mean it's like
correct
father either.
Correct, but
So,
Kurt Russell's son and Bill Pullman's son have been doing fairly well in this space, and Bill Pullman's son is in this movie also. So
I don't look at Wyatt necessarily like I look at Kurt. But,
no, you can't. But he has been holding his own,
Right.
in my opinion. He's been holding his own.
Nepotism runs strong in Hollywood, friends.
Well, look, it's always been about family lineage, and you can bash it all you want, but Nicolas Cage is a Coppola.
Well, the
right?
reason, look, that you grow up in the industry, you learn the trade. It's like, if you grew up and your dad was an electrician and you hung around him all the time, you'd probably pick it up by osmosis, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It just is what it is. I mean, and so I get it, but it also is part of the problem in some areas sometimes, right? When it comes to taking over or having a role with a company or a high-ranking role with a company or getting jobs. Look, ultimately, actors will get roles if they're good. If they are not good, guess what? You ain't acting in much. It's like,
unless you have a Twitter following. No, unless you have a Twitter following.
Unless you have the Twitter following.
Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, whatever.
Yes,
whatever.
100%.
And several of these other people that have no talent that have been acting. There are two things that I want to talk about real quick. One of them I didn't actually mention to you. I forgot about it. But did you know that there was a Dracula movie released, a movie that was titled Dracula that was released last year?
No.
It was made by a famous film director named Luc Besson. And Luc Besson did The Professional, Lyon. He did The Fifth Element. He did some other movies that are questionable. I think he did Wasabi also. Wasabi was really good. But anyway.
Is this Christoph Waltz?
Yes. Yeah, Christoph Waltz plays the Van Helsing character. I don't know that they ever actually call him Van Helsing in the movie. And they changed his role to a priest. So they're going very much more the Solomon Kane vibe for this. But also, this movie is based off of Bram Stoker's Dracula, the movie, not the book. So the Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula movie, this is kind of a retelling of that. So they take elements from that and they focus more on the love story. And they go through the characters. I thought it was fairly well done. My wife didn't care for it as much as I thought she would.
Okay.
Again, they focus on the love story. They do this weird perfume thing. So instead of like mind controlling people, he spent a century or so developing the perfect perfume formula to manipulate the minds of women. And so he finds his true love. And instead of Lucy, they call her Maria, and they make her the second instead of the third bride. Because Mina was always the second one after Elizabeth. But they go into some Dracula Untold / Bram Stoker's Dracula prehistory, which I thought was actually kind of cool. I didn't think they went far enough into his denouncement of the Catholic Church. But they did go into the fact that he was fighting Muslims and slaughtering Muslims in that time period. The Muslim invasion that was happening back then.
As you would.
Which is what Vlad the Impaler actually did. That's why he impaled so many people, is because the Muslim invasion was taking over his country. And then I thought it was a fairly good telling. If you can divorce yourself from the idea that it's related to the Bram Stoker's Dracula movie and take it on its own merits, I think you will find some benefit there from a lot of things. The acting is better, and the character who plays the Keanu Reeves part is way better, because Keanu Reeves was the worst part of that movie.
Yeah, he was pretty bad. I did find a scene actually here from that movie. It's just a couple seconds long. I'm gonna play it really quickly.
We ain't found shit.
I can't believe they put that scene
in
a Dracula
that's
movie.
So weird.
I have no idea how that made it in there, but they did.
But
That's what they did.
So I wanted to say, hey, if you like Dracula movies, if you like vampire stuff, go check it out. Tell me what you think about it. If you liked it, if it fits in your canon somewhere. And obviously, this movie was overshadowed by Edgar Wright's Nosferatu, which is an incredible movie.
Ah, God, dude, I love it, love it.
So obviously there's stuff there that
So good.
that kind of overshadows it, and that's probably why most people didn't know that Dracula from Luc Besson came out. And I'm a big fan of Luc Besson, and I like the stuff that he likes, but he's had trouble adapting some of the things. But he did a great job with The Fifth Element, and my wife worked on The Fifth Element, so there's a lot of bias there. So there's all that. But this other thing came out last week, and the second episode was released this week. So it's a weekly drop by Amazon. So they don't do that very often, but they're doing it for this. And it is The Ghost in the Shell, and it is literally called The Ghost in the Shell. Okay. So it is a retelling of the original manga, which is different than Standalone Complex, which is what this is from, right? But as we go through it, it is pretty darn close to the original manga, and no other adaptation in animation has come close to translating the original manga. So the 95 movie that came out was a really big departure from the movie or from the manga, but it stayed true to the core. It just made it a whole lot more serious. And it's an incredible movie. The second movie was closer to the themes of the manga. And then the Standalone Complex is an incredible TV series, and it goes through a whole lot of progressions in 2 seasons and a movie afterwards. And there's nothing beyond that. And even though it says that there's Standalone Complex 2045, it really doesn't have any relation to this, even though it kind of does, but its story's way out there. Those 2 seasons and the movie tell an incredible story as you go through the progression and the understanding of cyberization, of how we use the internet, and how we deal with digital consciousness and AI and all these things that we've been talking about for 30 years, but it's here now, and it's even more relevant now. And so they're retelling these stories, but they're telling it from the original manga. So some of the elements are very similar to what we've seen previously in those other shows that I was mentioning in movies, but this version of it is a little different. It's a little more lighthearted. It's got a lot more of those anime, manga, Japanese aesthetics to it. There's a little more of the cartoony faces and that kind of stuff. So if you love those other properties, if you love the concept of the Ghost in the Shell and what it was trying to represent and how it was a continuation of Blade Runner, and it really was, and Bubblegum Crisis, and it's taking those ideas and just bringing it to a really smart, intelligent level. I think this is worth a watch. The first 2 episodes have been great, and they follow the manga so well that I'm very happy with what they've been doing. I do recommend that if you can, watch it in Japanese with English subtitles.
Well, I always recommend that. If you
but
watch
there
anything,
is an English dub. There is an English dub version of it, and it's okay.
Sometimes when they're okay, I am good with that, and occasionally they do a good job with English dub. But usually, I always recommend doing the Japanese. And then just reading subtitles. And I put subtitles on everything now anyway, just because not only am I old, but I want to make sure I don't miss any references, especially like watching House of the Dragon, for instance, like, house names, landmarks, things of that nature. I just want to make sure that
we didn't even talk about House of the Dragon.
No, we didn't. And I figure we'll get into it tomorrow. Punk with Toys is dropping by here. 610 Yojo Daddy dropping by here.
Thanks for stopping by.
Before I pass out, trust me, I fully understand. I'm actually pretty beat myself. I'm not gonna lie. And there's Punk right there. Probably got done doing a review or a new video. I'm sure probably coming out soon. I love anime.
Yeah,
I'm not a big manga reader necessarily, but I do love Japanese anime, and there are a lot of shows. My son recently has got me into a new one on Netflix that he recommended, and don't get me wrong, it is strange. It is interesting, but it is strange to get into. I'll pull it up really quickly, and the reason why is because I can never remember the name of it.
Yeah.
If he were watching the stream, he'd tell me right now, but I can go to my just watched. It is Neon Genesis.
No.
Evangelion.
No. Oh my God.
He
my
loves
God.
it. He loves it, and I've already watched 2 episodes. So
oh shit. Okay, so
Vampire Hunter D is the shit.
Vampire Hunter D is amazing. I got to tell you about Evangelion.
Okay.
Evangelion. Okay, so
he trolled me. He likes it.
It is one of the most depressing stories.
He told me that.
I mean, the only thing worse is Now and Then, Here and There. Don't ever watch that one because you'll want to blow your brains out after that.
What about Yentl?
I forget it, man. Don't even get me going.
Kramer versus Kramer.
So Evangelion.
Okay.
The person who wrote this, the person who created this, is a PDF file.
Really?
Is a PDF file, and if you follow the through lines, if you pay attention to the symbolism and everything that they're talking about,
because a lot of anime obviously is very perverted. Okay.
And this.
We know this
goes to the nth degree if you actually follow the subtext of what's going on here about defying God and doing all this stuff with children. And so
interesting. Okay.
I watched the series all the way through one time, and I've never been able to go through it again. It's the same thing with Now and Then, Here and There. I could never go through it ever again, and there was something wrong with it. And then, strangely enough, Retro Blasting did a whole video on it and kind of dissected it.
What? Man, I'm telling you, this can't be. I don't know. There's a lot of other shit out there too that was mainstream that I'd be more concerned about, right? Like, I don't know. I'll look into it. But then now I got to ask my son because he probably has no idea either. He probably doesn't even know any. He doesn't even see any subtext. He probably has no idea.
There's a lot of innuendo and direct relation with all the people there.
You guys are awesome. Fucking
I
Todd, Mother Slug. He's like, oh no. No, listen, Mother Slug, that shit ain't ever gonna happen. I found out some information about some streams of some people I like, and I can't ever watch some streams again, man. Unfortunately, because there's some shit I'm like, man, I can't do this. I'm sorry, man. Like, there's just people. But look, Cypher, I get it, right? Of course I agree with that. You know what I mean? But you can't, you don't go into every piece of media knowing everything about everything, right?
And that's fair.
Everything, right? Like, I don't know every single piece of everything I've ever
Evangelion is one of those things that fooled a lot of people for a long time. And when the stuff started coming out about the creator and people started going back and looking at it, like I said, Retro Blasting did a review on that I think it hits everything that I felt wrong with that show when I watched it, and it's in there, and it's really disturbing.
I will dig into it. Dig into it, at least to an extent.
Go watch Ninja Scroll or Samurai X or something like that.
There's some other stuff. There's some other stuff that I have on my list.
Legend of the Overfiend, if you want to get kinky with it.
Don't you worry. Well, I'm not worried about the kink, all right? Like, I just like watching good stories, and I do like the Japanese vocalization. I like the way the voices sound. I like the way that, emotion and stuff like that. That's part of the fun for me in particular. Exactly. Attack on Titan, which a lot of episodes kind of recycle, and you kind of get it's kind of the same thing over and over, but it doesn't mean I still don't enjoy that show.
And I get that. A lot of people like that show. I couldn't get into that one. I watched the first episode and I had Evangelion flashbacks, and I couldn't watch it.
No, I don't get that with it. But I yeah, I've enjoyed that for sure, and several others. But yeah, interesting premise to say the least. And funky.
One Piece is a great one. If you ever want to get into
I can't do 1,200 episodes. I can't do that.
Hey man, it just takes some time.
That's what my ex-girlfriend said, and I was so embarrassed.
I'm just saying.
I was so embarrassed. My head was in my hands in shame. She said, "We'll try again tomorrow. I promise." And I never saw her again. She went out for a pack of cigarettes and some milk, and she never came back.
Some Kent Cools. She went out for some Kent Cools.
She went out for some fucking Newports, and she never came back. Damn, that's a story as old as time. But anyway, that's all we got time for this week, folks. All right, cool. I will definitely check into that. All right, look, we appreciate you guys hanging with us always. No, we did not mention the Indiana Jones cosplayer. However, it did get brought up to me, Lawrence, that at Joe Fest, someone literally asked me, "Oh my God, that guy is real." And I was like, "Yeah, he is real." He's like, because they saw him, and they were like, "No." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, he's real." And they're like, "He's right there." And I'm like, "Yep, that's him." And so, no, we did not mention him. If in fact that's who you're talking about. But,
of course, that's who he's talking about.
Yeah, but yeah, that was actually a pretty.
Because I make fun of him for it. I'm like, you got a custom hat made by the original hat designer to get the original version 1 Raiders of the Lost Ark hat.
He's got the pouch and everything.
He's got the shirt and the pouch that he had specifically made from
amazing.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then he wears fucking blue jeans. And I'm like, what?
Shit. Yeah, it was amazing. But in real time, literally, someone who I think this is the first time they've been to Joe Fest and literally said, "Oh my God, that guy is real, isn't he?" Yes, he is. Oh my God! Now that is a whip. All right. I think that's
all right, guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. We really appreciate you.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll see you guys obviously next week and post Odyssey. And if I get a chance to sneak in and see it on Monday, possibly Monday late or something like that, I'll do my best and see if I can't at least try to get a review of it. But like Spider-Man, it might have to wait a week to get a.
Hey, you know what? We got secured our tickets for Sunday of opening weekend for Spider-Man. So.
That's awesome. I may have to pull some favors from a couple people that I know. So I will see. But and Matthew, he says this to me every time we go on stream backstage. This is what Matthew says to me.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
So that's what he gets for streaming with me. All right,
keep firing, assholes.
Y'all have a great week. We'll catch y'all next time. I'm Pop. This is Matthew.